Okay, so I just wanted to establish that I'm wearing a top. Okay, in case like it goes low. But I wanted to do this thing where I saw Sito, who is Tyler's sister. I saw that she would like on her YouTube channel, she's done this thing where she does solo dates, and like that's something I find like really difficult to do. And but I wanted to try to do something like that for today, especially because I feel like I've been like struggling with just being by myself. Um, and so I went to Vita Cafe, I went to Exclusive Books, and like I bought this book, almost like a gift, All About Love by Bell Hooks. I started reading it and making notes in it too. I also brought this book because I was kind of hoping to work through, but I think I got scared working through the shadow work journal in public because like I didn't want to get emotional. Like I just have this other book that is on my shelf and it's called Healing Through Words by Ruby Kaur. And yeah, I think it's been hard because like I dressed up so nicely, but I think I was partially like repelling people from even complimenting me or saying hi because I was just so like stressed out. And like no one said it. Like only one person said something nice to me, which was sweet. Um, but I think I spent like the rest of the day just kind of like in my head about like how anxious I was feeling and like and then I don't know, I kind of wish I could like almost just dissociate feeling beautiful with sexual assault, which is so dramatic, I know, but like, and I'm not gonna fully get into that to be fair, but like, I think, um, unfortunately, I've been told at times I'm lucky to have this even like mentioned by anyone because there was a time in my life where no one was complimenting my looks, but like it's how can I word this? I'm grateful that like people do think I'm pretty and that like I can do my hair and like I can people can acknowledge the effort I put into my outfits. That's really sweet. I think what I'm struggling with is feeling safe in that experience. And it's not just like a safety with being seen, because there's like, you can feel uncomfortable being seen because you just have like confidence issues, like, oh, I don't like deserve to be viewed in a beautiful way, or like people secretly like there's those insecurity issues, like people secretly lying, etc. But like my like specific like insecurity issues were like very much yeah, being like harassed and stuff. And so like I kind of want to like bridge that gap and have like kind of in some ways like feed myself experiences where nothing bad happens and like people and like I think I'm pretty, maybe other people think I'm pretty, but that's not even the point. The point is just that I feel safe in being dressing the way I want, you know? I think I was also like really stressed like taking the Uber. Like because I like looked nice and my hair was great. I was like really, really stressed out. I was like on the phone like the entire time. And I wish like it's actually I do think it's kind of sad to have to like have had my joy robbed from me in that way. And like I'm also thinking about like my eating patterns, which I said I was going to talk about the reverse fasting thing. I'm gonna like just like prelude it a little bit, but basically I'm Christian, and like fasting is usually that concept that you let go of something, and the most common form of letting go of something is like food, foregoing food. In some extreme cases, like foregoing even water, and then relying on God to sustain you, and specifically engaging very deeply in your spiritual journey with like Jesus Christ and like very much like actively every second of every day devoting your time and effort and energy towards him as like much as humanly possible. And that is supposed to like fill up your spirit and fuel your spirit. And therefore, even though you experience hunger and your flesh cries out for hunger, you've overcome this desire of your flesh because your spirit is full. And it's supposed to be in some ways like a form of sacrifice towards God. The slight problem with that for me is my my problem with eating, which I won't get into too much on the internet. But essentially I have like deprived myself not in the worship of God, and I am unfortunately really skilled at like utilizing forgoing food as a form of punishment or even like sacrifice. Sacrificing for what it's like the standards for like the unpure, not even unpure, but like anxiety, like things that are like, how can I word this, things that are off this world, or if it's not like in this super, if it's not in a pursuit of a beauty standard, it is in direct response to inner turmoil. It's almost as if I seek the desire of like emptiness to curb my feelings of inner turmoil, emotional like illness or emotional um overwhelm. Oh, like that like emotional distress. That's the word. And so, and instead of like seeking God in those times, which I feel like it's a little it's a little too simplistic to say, oh, like I didn't seek God in those times, because yes, that's true, but it makes, I feel like wording it like that makes it sound like, oh, your issue with your emotional problems is purely like disobedience towards God and not being a warm enough Christian, being lukewarm in your faith. And I'm not saying those aren't components that have contributed to my decline recently in terms of my mental space and mental health. But I think it's like, I think if you heard my story, you would be like, oh, I understand why that happened. And I understand why perhaps purely like going to church and not at all seeking any other forms of helping you process this issue or problem in your life may not necessarily be sustainable. I'm not saying it wouldn't help. It does help. Like going to church and having community does really help. I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's so easy to make myself and make other people feel like incredibly guilty and feel like short sighted as a human being if they need more than just church and prayer. It's like it's almost as if judging for someone who like broke their leg, and instead of only praying for it, they pray for it and they go to the hospital. It's almost, I feel like there's like a stigma specifically with mental health that like if you seek like medical attention for it or any other like more conventional, more scientific methods of resolving some of that distress. That means that that's a showcase of a lack of faith, which I don't think that's the case. I think if anything, if you have true and honest faith, you would behave in a way as someone who has faith, if that makes sense. And I think someone who has faith would still take care of their health. They wouldn't disregard their health and and then blame God when their health continues to decline. But anyway, it's a complicated subject. So yeah, how was the date? How was the solo date? How was I with myself? Um, but like it was kind of cute. I got this dress at Urban Outfitters back in the States, and like Cotton On like was having similar dresses but in different colors. And so I went into the change room, but the lady was like, "You can't go in," and like, well, basically because I wasn't bringing in any Cotton On clothes, which maybe I should have known that not bringing in a Cotton On clothes was going to be a problem. But I just picked up a random bra that I knew was not going to fit me, and then I went in, and it was kind of nice to like just, I feel like wearing clothes in some ways is it's indulging in my attractiveness in a way that's kind of more like healthy. Um, because I think I like unfortunately I'm in a mental space where other forms of like trying to like indulge in my attractiveness is not actually very helpful, and it could actually be in some ways incredibly triggering. And so I've been finding like the safest and like healthiest way to feel pretty and attractive is to like go to like go like window shopping and try on pretty clothes. And I'm concerned about how long this is gonna last, because also in my recovery journey from my unhealthy eating, like I'm I am, I guess, in some ways concerned about the weight gain that will most likely occur. And I wish it wasn't, you know what I mean? Because I was incredibly beautiful before I lost this weight. And I think it's honestly just like a mental block in my head because I think it's like it's this desire and feeling and need for control that is coming from like a persistent place of reoccurring fear. And the fear is reoccurring because of the event, and I need to get myself to feel safe again. And I don't think believing that it won't happen again is a solution. Like, I would love to believe that it would happen again. And I'm sure I can get to a point where I live life as if will not happen again. You know, at least I think less of the possibility of it happening. But I think, like, in order to feel safe, it's less of a believing I'm safe, and it's more of a how can I word this? I mean, I guess it is a believing that I'm safe, but it's not my fault if I don't believe I'm safe. Like I and the best way to resolve it is not necessarily to like shut myself every time I that like doubt my safety and to ignore my like impulses of feeling unsafe, but it's rather to actively try and like simulate safety feelings. So when I am react feeling unsafe in places that like more objectively are safe, then if I can find like a way to simulate further safety within me, then I will feel more comfortable in being able to overcome those more mundane places that genuinely are safe, and then start to perceive those in a safe way because I actually feel safe because I'm actually partaking in practices that help me feel a sense of safety. And also not just partaking in practices, but actively surrounding myself by people who demonstrate that I am safe over and over and over again and that I can build trust with. So that would be great. Um, but yeah, solo dating was fun and exciting, but also like really nerve wracking. Um, and like I wish I could do more. I think it was a little easier when I was staying in like my small town in Massachusetts because I was like, oh, this is an protectably safe time. I think but it's also hard to think about it because I think I'm so used to like, I think I'm in a different mental space all entirely. You know what I mean? I'm so used to having like slightly less problems, if that makes sense. And at least mentally. And so that's why I think like it's not fully fair for me to judge. Maybe this Valentine's Day would have been in some ways difficult either way. Kind of like the idea of using my YouTube channel as like a way to talk to myself and talk to my heart. As there was a quote in this book that said, I could look for it, but I don't think I tagged it. And so like it's gonna be like really hard for me like to find it. Mm. Oh, found it. Okay, it's in the introduction. It's by Jack Cornfield, but with a K, not like a C. And he says, it is possible to speak with our heart directly. Most ancient cultures know this. We can actually converse with our heart as if it were a good friend. In modern life, we have become so busy with our daily affairs and thoughts that we have lost this essential art of taking time to converse with our heart. So, yeah, anyways, what else was happening? I guess I was also upset that I missed like a play. And I think sometimes when I plan things and I don't achieve my like plan, I get like really, really overwhelmed, like in it's a sudden change of routine. And the thing is, it's like I just need to get better at like planning to avoid this like overwhelmed feeling, you know, because I think I would feel like I think partially what led me to even opening like let me do it now is because I was feeling incredibly distressed over missing the play. Like I was 20 minutes late and they didn't let me in, which is fair. I'm fully aware of theater etiquette. Like I'm aware, but I was still like very like mentally like like I was so overwhelmed when I realized I couldn't go. And like in the grand scheme of things, that is not significant whatsoever. Like genuinely like the least like important like then probably would have been a beautiful play, probably. But like, I don't think I would have been as damaged by it, and I think it just comes from like an exerted that desire to control, and it could also come from potential neurospiciness. It might not be just a complete desire for control always. Like I don't necessarily need to map myself as this like villain that needs everything in place. Like it could just be someone who thinks differently and does require routine, and I need to honor that and be better at honoring that for myself. um, and but I think it also brought up a different issue is the fact that when I called my mom about it, she was like, "Hey, if you attended display and you're planning to attend the poetry event later, you most likely won't get an opportunity to eat." And I did eat today. Like don't get me wrong. And sorry if this was like overwhelming for someone who's listening. I did eat. It was actually part of my practice to read this book and have my chicken and mayo salad and matcha and water and a tart. Like I had so much. Okay, no. I also had a smoothie this morning. Okay, it sounds okay, fine. It sounds really bad. I could be doing better. I am doing better than I once was, but I'm clearly not at a stage of normalcy yet in terms of eating. So, anyways, I'll work on that. We'll get better. Progress with me. You're walking this walk. This is a journey. Yeah, I know. So I think those are like my thoughts. I want to get better at solo dates. I want to really like pamper myself, really be present with myself, really engage with my feelings, really get to know me. You know, like I'm glad I dressed up. I'm glad I went out. I'm glad I bought myself a gift. But I need to really like woo myself. You know what I mean? Like I need to be so wooed by myself that I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, because I think there was a point in time when I was actually participating in solo dates more frequently, even if I didn't name them that, like where it was like morning routine with the gua sha and like the Pilates, which there can be a whole discussion about the globalization of beauty, or in on the inverse view of that, the how capitalism results in cultural appropriation of beauty standards. So there's two ways of viewing that, because like I think I think I think sharing different beauty standards around the world, I think is actually kind of cool and beautiful. I think the main problem with what's happening is the fact that like it only becomes pretty when it's on Pinterest by people of a certain complexion sometimes, and then that's why it can feel like, I guess, sometimes frustrating that it wasn't like honored beforehand. And then also then companies that are not related to that region or that cultural practice stop producing it and then like making money off of a different cultural practice. So then like the cycle of like income kind of still remains within a certain viewpoint of people without necessarily like true and honest recognition. And then because of the lack of recognition, stereotypes tend to be perpetuate. Anyways, I'm getting to a whole other topic. Where was I? Anyways, I do want to engage in like healthy practices. I was talking about solo dating, and I want to do that more often. And I want to be present with myself and take care of my spirituality and my soul and feel present in my body, and like perhaps seek a sense of intimacy with myself beyond attractiveness or sensuality, etc. Okay. Thank you so much. It was so great talking to you. Bye.